Welcome to Chapter 3, the Meet and Greet. Introductions are the gateway to good business relationships, and in Asia this gateway is often lined with nuances, cultural expectations, and occasionally a touch of ritual. A handshake isn't just a handshake, it's a silent communicator of respect, intention, and sincerity. In this chapter we'll explore how to master the art of the meet and greet in Asia with humour, insight, and a few tips to save you from awkward moments. The humble handshake can take on different meanings across Asia. Get it right, and you've set the tone for a fruitful relationship. Get it wrong, and you might as well have greeted them with a limp fish. Facial expression. A smile goes a long way, but let's keep it natural. In cultures like Japan, where excessive smiling might seem insincere, a calm and pleasant expression works best. Pair this with steady eye contact, unless you're in a culture like Korea, where prolonged eye contact can be seen as confrontational. Shake hands the right way. China. A soft grip paired with a few gentle pumps is ideal. No need to crush their hand. It's not an arm wrestling competition. India. Expect a slightly longer handshake, often accompanied by a head wobble. Just go with the flow and mirror their energy. Singapore and Malaysia. A moderate handshake is the norm, but don't forget to smile. These nations often blend East and West in their etiquette. The greeting. Simple, sincere greetings work best. Avoid being overly effusive. In Thailand, skip the handshake entirely and go for the Y. A prayer-like gesture accompanied by a slight bow. It's graceful, respectful, and makes you feel like you've stepped into a martial arts film in the best way possible. Think of conversations in Asia as a 4-course meal. You don't dive straight into the main course. You ease in with appetizers. Small talk. This is the safe zone where everyone's just getting warmed up. Topics like the weather, local food, or the beautiful venue are perfect. In Asia, avoid diving into politics or personal matters, unless you're in a country like India, where lively debates can start over tea. Fact disclosure. Once rapport is established, share some details about your work, your background, or your company. In Japan, this stage often involves a lot of listening. Interrupting or dominating the conversation is seen as poor form. Viewpoints and opinions. If the conversation flows well, gently share your perspectives on business trends or mutual interests. In Korea, be ready for a bit of back and forth. It's a sign of engagement. Avoid being overly blunt. Indirectness is often appreciated. Personal feelings. This is the deep end of the pool, so tread carefully. Sharing your excitement about a project or a funny travel mishap can create a connection, but don't overshare. Remember, relationships in Asia often take time to build. Don't rush intimacy. Emily, a young manager from Australia, was attending her first meeting in Tokyo. Excited to make connections, she launched into a discussion about her company's successes without much preamble. Her Japanese counterparts exchanged polite smiles, but seemed distant. Later, her colleague explained that she'd skipped the essential small talk stage. The next day, Emily opened the meeting by complimenting Japan's cherry blossoms and asking her hosts about their recent holiday plans. The atmosphere warmed instantly, and the meeting ended with invitations for future collaborations. Conversation faux pas to avoid talking too much. In many Asian cultures, listening is golden. If you're doing all the talking, you might come across as self-absorbed. Interrupting. In India, lively interruptions can sometimes show engagement, but in Japan or Korea, they're often seen as rude. Learn to read the room. Forgetting the seniority rule. In hierarchical cultures, like China, always address the senior-most person first and direct your responses to them, unless indicated otherwise. The meet and greet is more than just a polite exchange. It's your chance to set the tone for a relationship built on mutual respect. By mastering the handshake, understanding conversational stages, and respecting cultural nuances, you'll turn introductions into meaningful connections. And remember, a little humor when timed right can bridge any gap. Just maybe skip the dad jokes. Chapter 4. Dining in Style. Conducting business over meals is an art form in Asia, where the dining table often doubles as the boardroom. Here, deals are sealed over dim sum, trust is built with sushi, and respect is exchanged over endless cups of tea. But beware, dining etiquette in Asia can be a maze of traditions, unspoken rules, and the ever-present danger of slurping too loudly, or not loudly enough, depending on where you are. Understanding place settings. Before you dive into your meal, take a moment to decode the battlefield of utensils, plates, and glasses before you. The good news? In most Asian settings, the place setting is straightforward. The bad news? You might still make a rookie mistake. Chopsticks, the mighty swords. If you're dining in Japan, China, or Korea, you'll likely be wielding chopsticks. Here's what not to do. Don't stab your food. This isn't fencing class. Never leave chopsticks standing upright in a bowl of rice. It resembles a funeral ritual in many Asian cultures. Don't use them as drumsticks to bang on bowls. You're here to impress, not audition for a band. The Who Pours first game. In China and Japan, pouring drinks for others is a sign of respect. When you're offered a drink, hold your glass with both hands to accept it graciously. If you're the pourer, never fill your own glass first. It's a major faux pas. In many Asian countries, meals are served family style. Always use the serving spoon or chopsticks provided. Reaching into the communal dish with your own utensils is a surefire way to kill the mood and, well, your chances of a second meeting. The art of eating in style. The rules for eating in Asia vary widely. What's polite in one country might be shocking in another. Here's your cheat sheet. Slurp away, but know when. In Japan, slurping noodles loudly isn't just acceptable, it's a compliment to the chef. In China, a quieter approach is preferred. And in Korea, get ready to hear the delightful symphony of communal eating sounds. Everyone joins in. Use your hands, sometimes. In India, eating with your hands is common, but there's a trick. Always use your right hand, as the left hand is considered unclean. This applies even if you're a lefty. Sorry, but the rules don't bend here. Respect the host. In Malaysia and Indonesia, wait for the host to invite you to start eating. Digging in too early can make you seem overeager, like someone who's skipped lunch for 3 days. Sticky situations and their solutions. Dining disasters can happen to anyone. Here's how to recover gracefully. You drop food on the table. No need for theatrics. Discreetly place the fallen food on the edge of your plate and carry on as if nothing happened. You're served something, unfamiliar or unappealing. Take a polite bite and smile, even if your taste buds are crying. If you truly can't stomach it, move it to the side of your plate, quietly. You accidentally spill a drink, apologize immediately, and offer to help clean up. If you're in a formal setting, signal discreetly to the waiter for assistance. Practical illustration. Mark, a software engineer, was invited to a client dinner in Japan. Excited and a little nervous, he sat down and began pouring sake into his own cup. His Japanese counterpart gently stopped him, explaining the custom of pouring for others first. Embarrassed but grateful for the guidance, Mark corrected his mistake. By the end of the meal, he was expertly refilling his host's cup and even received compliments on his attentiveness. Dining with alcohol. A delicate balance. Alcohol often plays a big role in Asian business meals, especially in countries like Japan, China and South Korea. Here's how to navigate it. Know your limits. While toast may flow freely, it's not a competition. Politely sip rather than chug, especially if you're not a heavy drinker. Say cheers the right way, China. Say ganbei, cheers, and be prepared to down your drink if the host does the same. Japan, clink glasses and say kanpai. South Korea, wait for the senior person to toast first and never pour your own drink. Dining isn't just about food. It's a stage where business relationships are built, trust is earned, and respect is shown. Mastering the subtle art of Asian dining etiquette might take time, but the rewards are worth it. And remember, if all else fails, a warm smile and a heartfelt thank you can save even the most awkward meal. Business meals in restaurants are a staple of professional life across Asia. They're more relaxed than office meetings, yet just as significant, as they offer a window into your character and respect for others. While dining in style at a formal banquet has its complexities, eating out at a restaurant comes with its own set of expectations and unspoken rules. When it's time to order, the spotlight is on you, but not for your culinary preferences. In Asia, how you order can reflect your understanding of cultural etiquette and your respect for others at the table. Follow the host's lead. In countries like China and South Korea, the host usually orders for the group. Don't jump in with your own requests unless invited. If the host asks for suggestions, offer something modest, not the lobster special. Don't be a maverick. In Japan, ordering something vastly different from the group can feel out of sync. When in doubt, follow the tone set by the host or senior member of the group. Dietary preferences. If you have dietary restrictions, inform your host discreetly in advance. Declining food at the table without explanation may come across as rude in many Asian cultures. Alcohol is a common feature of business meals in Asia, especially in China, South Korea and Japan, where it often serves as a social lubricant. That said, there are rules to keep things professional. Don't overdo it. Sure, the toast might flow freely, but this isn't a frat party. Sip responsibly, even if everyone else is going full throttle. In South Korea, it's polite to turn your head slightly away from senior colleagues when drinking. Toast with meaning. If you're the guest, it's customary to propose a toast to thank your host. Keep it simple, but heartfelt. In China, use ganbei, bottoms up with care. It's an invitation to drain your glass. If you're not up for that, try sui yi, which means as you wish. Know when to say no. If you're not a drinker, politely explain, but be prepared for gentle encouragement to participate. In Japan, you can keep your glass full without drinking by topping it off yourself, an acceptable trick in this context. The timeless dilemma of settling the bill. Here's how it typically plays out in Asia. The host pays. In most Asian cultures, the person who invites usually picks up the tab. If you're the host, plan ahead to avoid fumbling for your wallet. Arrange with the restaurant staff in advance if you'd like the bill handled discreetly. The polite fight. In places like China and Taiwan, there's often a playful back and forth over who should pay. This isn't about stinginess. It's a cultural display of generosity and respect. If you're the guest, make a show of offering to pay, but ultimately let the host win. Tipping culture. Tipping practices vary widely across Asia. In Japan, tipping can be seen as offensive because service is included in the price. In other countries like Malaysia or Thailand, small tips are appreciated but not obligatory. Research beforehand to avoid awkward moments. You ordered the most expensive dish, accidentally. If you realize your choice might break the host's budget, downplay its importance. Share it with the table, turning it into a communal dish to soften the impact. Something goes wrong with the food. Found a hair in your soup, or a dish too spicy to handle. Quietly inform the waiter or your host. Making a scene isn't the Asian way. Subtlety is key. Language barriers. Struggling to understand the menu? Politely ask your host or a server for recommendations. Most people will be happy to guide you, especially if you express genuine interest in trying local cuisine. Practical illustration. Anna, a sales executive from the UK, attended a client dinner in Thailand. Excited to show her appreciation, she reached for the bill at the end of the meal. Her Thai host playfully insisted on paying, but Anna persisted, not realizing this back and forth was customary. In the end, her insistence created slight discomfort. Later, her colleague explained the polite fight tradition, and Anna vowed to let the host win next time, but not without a spirited attempt.